Hello book lovers, and welcome to this week's episode of the Indie Author Sharing Hub, where I bring you information on books by self-published authors so that you don't have to spend hours going through the internet to find your next read. Quick note to say, I hope that lockdown, if you're in one at the second, is treating you well, and that you and your families are all healthy and safe currently. As usual, I've got a lineup of some great books for you, so I'm going to start by jumping right in. And the first book I have for you today is called Club 5806 by Steve Exten. Now this is a sci-fi mythological fantasy with a touch of romance in, and the audience is for young adults and beyond. A couple of notes for this one: there's some military barrack language, some mild swearing and suggestive sex, a bit of violence but nothing gratuitous. It is a sweet girl meets boy love story against a backdrop of a holiday resort disaster. But it is no ordinary holiday resort and no ordinary disaster. The resort, the Atomspheres, is an orbiting satellite, an array of huge spheres in the shape of an atom. Each sphere is 2 kilometres in diameter. Each contains an amusement park or hotels or shopping malls such as Disney or Futuroscope. Then, through a series of errors, one of the spheres vanishes, taking everybody and everything with it. And the boy, he is 14 at the time, is the last person to touch the vanished sphere before it disappeared. His 2 brothers were amongst the missing. The plot of Club 5806 is 8 years after the disaster. The boy Jez, JD, is now 22 and the girl Lucy is 25. They are both from a race of humans, Homid, that have the telepathy gene. Lucy is doing a master's degree in law, and a module of her chosen course involves making contact with a stranger by telepathy, and Jez is her chosen target, but for some reason he isn't interested, even though she is the prettiest girl on campus. From the back of the book we have JD's a mixed-up 22-year-old, a loner haunted by terrorists from his past. Shunned by his peers who don't understand him, sitting there silhouetted against the moons, he cuts a pathetic figure. And now there's a girl knocking on the door to his mind. His mind is mixed up enough as it is. The last thing he wants is her size 9s trampling amongst his thoughts. JD's keeping that door firmly locked and barred. That girl is Lucy Hetler, a straight-A student and the poster girl of Mech U. She's vivacious, sharp, intelligent, but maybe too trusting of her abilities, because time is running out for Lucy. Her degree is teetering on the brink. "Oh, Chris," she groaned, "I started too late, spent too much time clubbing, and I've nothing to show." "That's you all over, isn't it? Last minute Lucy," Christy, her roommate, scolded. Lucy nodded. "I know, you're right. What am I going to do, Chris?" she cried, sobbing into a tissue. "I have the Homid telepathy gene, he does too. Linking across the mind plane should be easy, but he's ignoring me. He just sits there staring into the night sky, oblivious to all about him," she wailed. "So what happened to JD? What are these terrors? Why does he stare into the night sky? What's out there? And why did the prof add the now closed Club 5806 to the study list for this exercise in telepathy? What's that all about?" Liking this one a lot so far. I have the first couple of pages for you for this one as well. 7 weeks. Should be ample. "Oh no, look at my hair. Lucy?" "Oh, sorry, Prof. I just caught sight of my..." And Lucy's outburst stumbled to an embarrassing halt when she realised the eyes of the tutor group were on her. Sorry, Prof." Lucy had just caught her reflection in one of the Prof's cupboards. "Can I continue now?" the Professor asked. Lucy nodded vigorously. "Yes, sorry." "Thanks, Luce," the Prof said, his lips curled in a smile. "I'll try again, shall I? And so, ladies and gentlemen, as I was just about to say, it's time to put everything you've learned to the test." The Professor paused and looked about the room, making eye contact with each of his students. "We have come at last to the final assignment, the random target subject." The student scribbled feverishly as he set out the guidelines. "This person should be known to someone within your circle, but not necessarily known to you, and they should only be approached if someone within your sphere can vouch them safe. This is very important. You must never put yourself into an unsafe situation." After spelling out his rules of engagement, Professor Beskard, affectionately known as the Prof to students and faculty alike, looked up and smiled. "Tut tut, rabbits in the headlights," he said, and chuckled as he shook his head. "Don't look so worried, you can do it. Come on, cheer up. You've already done it in controlled environments. Now all you have to do is pull together everything you've learned. After all, he said, spreading his palms, it's not as if I'm asking you to do something that's genetically impossible. You all possess the Homid gene. Telepathy is one of your natural assets. You guys can do it. Then he smiled and continued, this time speaking directly into their thoughts. I'm giving you 7 weeks for this assignment. That should be ample. By the end of 4 weeks, you ought to have established a definite contact. By 5, you and your target should be chatting across the mind plane and building a rapport. At 6, I would expect you to be making arrangements for some sort of meeting, a coffee perhaps, or something in that vein. And by 7? By 7, I would hope that you can introduce your target subject to me. Now don't forget, I want to see you all back here in 4 weeks with your interim report, and in 7, I want to be introduced to your new friend. Good. Now off you go, no time to lose, get to it. Thank you so much, Steve, for submitting your book. This sounds fantastic. You can buy this book on Amazon. You can get the ebook for just $2.99 and the paperback is $7.99. Now that's in pounds, so the prices in other currencies may vary slightly. Best of luck for sales with that one. The second book I have for you today is called I, Black Pharaoh, Rise to Power by Emmanuel Kulu Jr. Now this is a historical fiction and adventure book with target audience being people in the USA or the UK or India. This written masterpiece brings to light the accurate imagery of African kings never seen before by the Western world. The novel is a fast-paced, powerful story of epic battles based on the historical rise of Queen Pharaoh Hatshepsut and expansionist warrior Pharaoh Thutmose III, who is also called the Napoleon of Egypt. A prophecy is given to the sorcerer by way of dream about a coming birth of a child that would become a mighty conqueror of nations, Black Pharaoh. But his birth would be darkened with betrayal, deceit, and imminent death to the royal throne. So I'm quite excited. I adore books about history. History was one of my favourite subjects at school. Fascinated by the Tudors and the World Wars. I was very excited because I found in my house like a trilogy of DVDs about World War II. Anyway, back to this book. I'm going to give you the first few lines of I, Black Pharaoh as well. Early during the spring of 1577 BCE, on a morning with clear skies on the desert beach of Dahab on the southeast coast of the Sinai Peninsula in Egypt, a man sat with his legs crossed beneath him. He sighed with contentment as the sound of rushing waves crashed against the shore. A dark brown turban covered his head and face but left his eyes exposed to the light of day. Hekelton, an Egyptian sorcerer of great renown, languished in a deep meditation. In sync with the forceful waves he murmured and chanted, Great God Amun-Ra, reveal yourself to me. The nation has become weak as the days of Hyksos. Rise, O Kemet. Oh, I'm very excited about this one. I do have a love of Egyptian history as well. Weirdly inspired by a video game. In fact, the first video game that I played, or remember playing, was Tomb Raider, The Last Revelation, and that was focused in Egypt. And since then, anything Egyptian, I'm like, yes, I love it. Does anyone else have things like that? Anyway, I digress. This one, also available on Amazon. The ebook pricing for this one is $3.99 and the hardcover is $24.99. Now that's both in dollars, so again, the currency in your own country may vary. But yeah, if you have a love of anything, I mean, I'm quite interested in video games. I'm probably better at watching them than I am playing them, unless it's Pokemon, because otherwise I get terrified. I love watching scary games, but I can't sleep at night if I ever play one. So yeah, if you guys have books inspired by games, I'd be quite interested to know. So drop a comment in. Let me know what you do, because, well, I want to know. I'm nosy. Want to look into your lives. Now the third and final book I have for you today is by T.B. Wayne, and it's called A Foreshadowing of Darkness, The Rise of Arawn, Book 1. Now there's also the name of the illustrator on here, Thea Nicolescu. I think it's always worth mentioning the illustrators. I didn't do my own artwork for my first book because I can't draw a circle around a penny, but a good friend of mine did the cover for my book and I fell in love with it. It was completely different from what I gave her as an idea, and I absolutely love it. There's also, inside this book, I had a look inside, and if you go on to the link, you can see the same. There's a map. And I love when books put maps in, so you can see the world that's been created. Anyway, I digress. In a millennium gone past, the ancient builders burned the world with fire from heaven, and nearly all of mankind passed in the night of smoke and fire. Their great cities left utterly destroyed, leaving naught but rubble. Man slowly crawled out from their burrows and caves into a changed world where monstrous creatures preyed upon their flesh. Into this world filled with darkness bravely strode a light, the Triads, warriors dedicated to driving back the corrupt creatures and standing in the breach between what was left of man and the darkness that sought to take them. These great warriors bore the mark of the one, golden yellow eyes, and used Io to do great and mighty works in defence of mankind. Io, it is believed, is a gift to mankind from the One, and gave them greater strength, speed, and power to stand against evil. Time passed, years and then decades, and man slowly gained back a foothold and began ever so slowly to thrive. The Triads continued to train at the first temple and served as man's greatest guardian. The greatest among the Triads was Arawn. Marked a second time by his pale albino skin and incredible skill, his eyes permanently burning like two bright golden lamps. Arawn stood above for his skill, commitment, and faith in the One until he discovered a fateful secret. If true, it would change everything he knew and shatter the very foundation of the order he served. The lies wore heavily upon him, but there was yet more. Betrayal done in the dark of night by those closest to him. Then, most terribly, those he protected turned their backs on him and scorned him. How does a hero fall, become the villain? One bloody step at a time. Ooh, I like that. I'm going to give you a little bit of the prologue as well, and it begins with a quote. From the first book of St. Michael, the Archangel, may he always defend us. In the time before time, the builders broke the world with fire from the heavens, and the land shattered and changed. Upheaval rocked the land as the very earth itself rioted and shook. The glorious houses of the builders fell, rivers changed course, and the seas moved inward onto the land. Sickness stalked every human place like a great dark panther, and people died in droves. Where once 10 people stood, only one remained. The people cried out in their agony, begging the heavens to save them, but the One was cleansing the land with fire and sickness, and there was no changing his course. It was during this time that St. Michael was granted his vision of the changing world, a vision of what it would come to be, and the foundation he was to lay forth. Thus began the creation of the first temple of St. Michael and his holy army. May he always defend us, which set forth the path for the salvation of all mankind. Sounding very, very deep there. I actually really like the start of that one. I think that sounds like it's going to be a fascinating story. So if you're a horror fan, that's the book for you. And if you've got Kindle Unlimited, you can actually get this book for free. If you don't have Kindle Unlimited, don't worry. It's only £3 and a penny to buy, or you can even get the paperback for £10.54. Again, this one is in GBP, so outside of England, your currency and the price may slightly differ. That's all the books I've got for you today, and just a reminder that my own book, Discordia From the Ground Up, is available on Amazon as well, and free to those who have Kindle Unlimited, but £3.99 if you want to buy the ebook, and £7.99 for the paperback. Thank you to all the wonderful authors who have submitted today. If you are a self-published author and you'd like to have your book featured on this channel, there is a contact me link below, so just click it and follow the instructions and I will get you on the channel as soon as I can. As usual, the links for all of the books we've seen today are in the description below, so just click and it will take you right to the place where you can make your purchase. If you do buy the books, feel free to leave a review for them. Authors love reviews, it helps us get more notice by Amazon especially, and it makes us feel pretty good when someone puts a good review on your book. Feel free to drop any questions or to put anything in the comments. I will reply to you as soon as I can. Thank you all for joining me today, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Happy reading! As usual, all the links for the books we've seen today are in the description below. Feel free to leave any comments or contact me. Just to have a friend, really. Be nice. What? Hush. Just a reminder that my own book, Discordia from the Ground Up, it's available. You can buy it. Do it! Now that's interesting. Bear with me. Just go. Hecaton, an Egyptian. Is that a sentence? Based on the historical rise of the Queen Pharaoh. Oh, there's a name I can't say. Hatshep.
It's increased, and if I want to increase more, I need to.
Okay, we just.
Let's see. You can see it's now increased. Okay.
Okay.
So just right.
So I had to look up how to make the volume for my microphone louder because it'd been very quiet for the first few episodes and I didn't know how to change it, which is what you just heard then is someone very useful on the good world of YouTube because we're all wonderful people here. Ooh! No! No! I have a hair in my eye which I need to lose. Also, I'm wearing this lovely top. It's brilliant, but it keeps catching on absolutely everything. They are both from a race of humans, Homid, that have the telepathy. They are both. Can't speak today. Can I speak any day? We are waiting for an episode where I can speak my own language. Not my own. I mean English. I don't mean like I'm making up my own like alien language or anything. Though that would be fun. Did have something similar to that in college, but I was a weirdo. Hello book lovers and welcome to this week's episode of the Indie Authors Sharing Hub, where I bring you information on books by independent authors so that you don't have to waste time going through... Oh, I knew I'd mess it up! See, I told myself I was going to be good this week and I was going to celebrate, but no, I'd start again.